It goes without saying that choosing a career path can be one of the most daunting decisions you'll ever have to make. What makes this worse is the fact that many end up changing their minds at the end of the day after coming to terms with what the profession is actually like. Luckily for you though, this information is now readily available at the click of a button. So what is it that a plumber actually does on a daily basis, and does this differ based on the type of plumber we are talking about? Well, whether you're thinking of joining the plumbing profession or just want to know more about the men and women that make our lives easier, stay right where you are, as we're about to explore precisely what it is that plumbers do. So strap yourselves in and get ready to take some notes, as things are about to get interesting. But before we get into it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss out on any of the new videos we post. A little more about plumbers in general. The title of a plumber is one that is pretty multifaceted, but when speaking in general terms, it can be said to define a profession that revolves around the piping systems of homes and businesses alike. As such, plumbers are deemed to be necessary components of our society, especially considering how important running water is to our everyday lives. Just shut off the running water to a business or home and you'll find it in absolute disarray. Think about it. No running water means no coffee, hot showers, or flushing toilets. And in the age of coronavirus pandemic, where washing hands is something that is more important than ever, running water continues to be a necessity of life. Plumbers are the people we call when something new needs to be installed or something old needs to be repaired or replaced. They are the problem solvers who step in when things go wrong, saving the home or business in question from the disarray that we described earlier. But it must be said that not all plumbers are the same. The industry is a large one comprising of a number of different specializations, and while there may very well be plumbers who consider themselves to be jacks of all trades, it must be said that more often than not the truly qualified professionals fall into one sector or another. This is due to the fact that the quality of a plumbing job is often considered to be the most important aspect of that job. And it doesn't take a genius to figure out that a plumber with more experience in a particular field will be able to provide a client with a fix that will last longer. It must also be said that experts of a particular field have a tendency to work a lot faster than those who are just dabbling in a particular field. And since the majority of plumbing jobs fall into the emergency category, time is really of the essence. As you can see from our very brief explanation, picking the right plumber for the job at hand is incredibly important. So before you decide to call a plumber up, or better yet, choose to commit to the industry, you'll need to know more about the different types of plumbers that exist in the world. So let's take a look at the categories of commercial, residential, and service and repair plumbers, each of whom have their own role to play in the plumbing industry. Number 1. Commercial plumbers. First up on our list of plumbers is the category known as commercial plumbers, who are skilled and qualified professionals that often work within large commercial settings. In other words, these are not the type of plumbers you'd be calling to fix a leak at home, although it must be said that you would certainly be able to attend to a problem such as this, albeit at a much higher price. You can expect to see commercial plumbers attending to a multitude of fixes and installations when the working environment in question is commercial in nature. In other words, think of them as the plumbers that work on building sites and need to know the intricate details about applicable building regulations so that they can install plumbing within a newly built building. They are also the plumbers who are called when an office building is having some trouble with their plumbing. More often than not, these office buildings have many floors, each with their own bathrooms. So you can imagine just how confusing the plumbing systems in such a building may be in comparison to what residential plumbers are used to seeing in our homes. Last but not least, commercial plumbers can also be called to work on large pieces of machinery that make use of piping and running water, although this is a sector that is considered to be a bit more specialized in nature. As you can see, the main difference between commercial plumbers and their brothers in arms is the fact that the commercial environment can be a lot more complex when the chips are down. These plumbers often have to complete the same jobs that residential plumbers are called out to fix, but find themselves having to find various ways to fix these problems without having to shut a place of employment down completely. Take the coffee-making facilities away from a company for a solid day and you'll see productivity come to a standstill, showing just how important it is for these plumbers to fix a problem fast. They also often have to deal with intertwining pipe systems due to the fact that office buildings have many floors, each with their own places of employment and bathroom facilities. And as we mentioned earlier, an innate knowledge of building codes is a necessity for a commercial plumber who can be called on to work alongside an architect and building manager at a new site. Number 2. Residential plumbers. And then we have the residential plumbers, who don't often get called to install entirely new piping systems in a commercial setting. In fact, these are the plumbers that we are most familiar with, as they usually work within the residential setting. They are the men and women you call when you have a problem that needs fixing at home, whether this be the form of water-saving toilet that you need installed or a leaking pipe that you need fixed. It must also be said that more often than not, this is where a plumber will start by completing his apprenticeship alongside a more experienced member of the profession. This allows the new employee to learn on the job and start getting paid from the very first day of his career. As we mentioned earlier, with the exception of piping system installations, residential plumbers attend to the same problems that commercial plumbers are often called in to deal with. The only real difference is the residential environment within which these plumbers work, making the jobs a lot simpler to deal with. This means that unlike commercial plumbers, residential plumbers are often able to complete a number of jobs a day, moving from one residence to another in an attempt to make as much money as possible. Since they are limited to a single job a day, they can actually end up making more money than commercial plumbers, but this is obviously dependent on a number of factors. After obtaining a sufficient amount of experience and requisite licenses, residential plumbers often find themselves opening their own plumbing businesses, allowing them to finally work for themselves. The job also allows them time during the evenings to work for friends, family, and referrals, building up a client list for when their business is ready to launch. As such, residential plumbers are often happy where they are in their life. Number 3. Service and repair plumbers. The last category of plumbers are those in the service and repair industry, who can actually fall into the commercial or residential sphere depending on their specialties. These plumbers have technical training and are experienced in a number of problem-solving scenarios. Think of them as the preventative plumbers who are called in to check that everything is working in order. By evaluating the piping system of a residence or commercial property, they are able to save the owner a lot of money by pointing out problematic areas and carrying out fixes before things get out of hand. And while not many residential owners have the foresight to call for an evaluation such as this, most companies require a check to take place on an annual basis. This obviously prevents the situation in which something may happen to bring productivity of the business to a stop, such as the bursting of a pipe at a later date. It's a pretty niche field which is actually composed of experienced plumbers who used to work in the commercial or residential sphere exclusively and know precisely what to do to prevent disasters they have seen throughout their careers. So as you can see, what a plumber is asked to do on a daily basis is linked to the type of a plumber we are dealing with. And remember, if you're already a plumber running your own business or just about to start and grow your own plumbing business, you must learn the 4 critical things plumbing business owners wish they had learned before starting a plumbing business, so you don't make the same mistakes. Plumbing Accelerator has put together a free training video that you can watch right now that will show you exactly how to start, grow, and build your plumbing business the right way so you can consistently guarantee profitable work and free up your time, all whilst reducing stress levels and allowing you to have a sustainable and more profitable business that works for you. In this free training video, you will also learn how to generate a steady stream of jobs on demand with the predictability month after month in your local area without relying on word-of-mouth referrals, how to stop competing on price with other plumbers and escape your competition, how to convert at least 90% of your quotes and estimates into sales, and how to command premium prices and attract high-quality customers that will be happy to pay more. Make sure to click the link in the description and let us know what your thoughts are about our explanation of the profession in the comment section down below.